To finish this off, let me collapse this swatches panel. There are a handful of effects that I would like for you to kind of know about, and I'm going to make this go really fast. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a star, just a 5-pointed star right here, and I'll go ahead and set up the fill color that I want. I'm just going to fill it with a yellow color, and I'm going to stroke it or outline it with a black color. So I'll double click on that stroke box and get that, and I'm going to bump that up a little bit. And in order to make, I have several effects that I want to do here, so I'm just going to use the Alt key and I'm going to drag these, and then I can work my way through these effects very quickly. You can do the same kind of thing here if you want to. You can make one shape and then Alt drag them, and then as I do these effects, I'll be able to just kind of come along and apply the effects to these stars as needed. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to start with the first one, and if I look over here on the right hand side of my artboard, it says Effects, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat. Alright, well, this is under the Effect menu. That's what that FX means. Distort and Transform is right here, and then Pucker and Bloat is one of the choices. So I'll choose Pucker and Bloat. Now on the Pucker and Bloat dialog box, there's a preview option. I want to do that. I want to preview it. Now if I push it over toward Bloat, you'll see what's happening to the star. If I push it back toward Pucker, you'll see it's kind of getting sucked in toward the middle the farther I go. Now I don't really care much which way you go and how far you slide the slider. You kind of work it until you think, oh gosh, that's cool. But what I want you to see is that you can take these basic shapes here, and you could have done it with any shape. I did it with a star, but you could do it with any shape. So I'll just apply this Pucker and Bloat effect. I'll click OK, and that is a Pucker and Bloat. Now on the next one over, I'm going to do a Ruffin. Alright, I'll select the star, go to the Effect menu, Distort and Transform, and Ruffin. Alright, so again I'm going to preview, and you'll see it gets all craggy and jaggy on the edges of it, but there are some adjustments you can make here. The size of these jaggy edges and the detail in them, and whether or not they're smooth or they have corners, and so you can kind of play with all of that and decide, okay, I've got what I want, I'll click OK there. So that's Ruffin. Okay, good. Alright, the next one up is Twist. I'll select this third star. I'll go to the Effect menu. I'll go to Distort and Transform, and I'm going to do a twist. Alright, now I'm going to set this angle. Right now it's on 0 degrees. I'm going to set it on 360 degrees, and I'll preview it. Oh, look what it did to that star. Just spun it around 360 degrees, and you could try any degree setting you want, and you'll get different results if you do it with a different kind of shape. It'll look different if you twist a triangle or some other kind of shape. I'll go ahead and click OK on that. I'll select my next star, and these next ones, oh, that's a twist, by the way, and these next ones come out of the Stylize section, so I'm going to do a drop shadow on this star. So I'll select the star, I'll go to Effect, and this is a different part of it. You go to Stylize this time, not Distort and Transform. Go to the section called Stylize. I'll do a drop shadow. Now again, you got to preview it. Alright, and then give it a second. It pops on here and really doesn't look bad the way it is. There are several options that you can kind of play around with here, but I'm just going to go ahead and click OK and say that's good enough. Got it. Alright, I'm going to move on. By the way, that was a drop shadow. An inner glow is the next one. So I'm going to select the star, go to Effect, go to Stylize. Inner glow is what I want to try next. Now you may have to play with this one some. I'm going to click the preview button, and it's kind of a white color. Now if you increase the amount of blur, you may begin to see it have an effect on here. It's kind of turning white around the edges. I'm going to go ahead and click on that little whitish tannish box there, and just pick a different color. Just so maybe we can see this a little bit better, and I'll click OK. Now you're seeing a kind of a glow around the edge with that bluish color, and how much it's blurred and what the opacity is will make a difference on what it looks like. Now you might remember from Photoshop, blend modes, that can make a difference too. If you set that on normal or overlay, you'll get different results, and some of them will work well and some won't. So there I put it on normal with blue and a 14-point blur, and I'm getting a blur around the star. So I'll click OK there, and that is an inner glow. Alright, and outer glow is the next one, so I'll select the star, I'll go to Effect, Stylize, and Outer Glow. I think I'll change the color of this to red. All right, I'm going to push this slider all the way up and this to the corner, and I'll go red. I want to preview it, and I'm going to increase the blur a bit, and you'll see that red glow begin to come around the star. Now again, you could play with the blend mode. I could put it on normal, and it'll probably pop out a little bit more. I could turn the opacity up some. It'll probably become a little bit more vivid with that, but that's looking pretty good. So I'll click OK there. All right, coming down the home stretch, that's an outer glow. Rounded corners works this way. I'm going to select the star. I'll go to Effect, Stylize, Round Corners, and I'm going to preview it, and it does just what you would expect. If a corner is pointy, it rounds it off. Now, if you increase the radius, it rounds it off even more. So you can kind of play around and get the option that you want there. Click OK when you're done. Round corners. All right, I've got one more. It's called a Scribble. So I'll take that star. I'll go to Effect. I'll go to Stylize. I'm going to go to Scribble. Big dialog box here. And preview is already checked on this one, so it's coming up and it's looking like you see it there. There are several presets in here like Sketch or Childlike or Snarl, and you can try any of those that you think you want. Default look pretty good to me, and they all have these path overlaps and stroke widths, and you can play around with all of those options. But just to see what it does, this is good enough, and I'll click OK, and that is a Scribble right there. Now, when I was doing my alt drag, I made extra stars here that I don't need, so I can just delete them. Just click them and delete them, and that's it. I've got my, I've got brush strokes, gradients, patterns, effects that I applied, and these things can all be a part of a bigger assignment that's coming up. So it's just kind of a practice and get ready kind of thing. Now you got to save this. You would have to go to File, Save As, and you want to save it on Drive H to begin with, and just keep the same name. It's called Stroke Fill Effect. Just keep that name. So you save it on Drive H to begin with, and then the finished final copy gets dragged and dropped into the Turn In folder on Drive L. All right, that's it, folks. Off you go.